Okay. Hey everybody, Glenn Haddam here, and I'm here with my good buddy Steven Sashen of Xero Shoes, and you're on the Amplify Life podcast.
I look so small next to you.
This is my friend that I really look down to in life, but we've known each other for quite some time. He's actually in the top, one of the fastest, 70-year-olds in the
70, geez. For men over like in the 60, 64 age group, I'm like the 20th fastest guy in the country.
20th fastest guy in the country.
60-meter indoor, 100-meter outdoor.
Wow. Okay, so he's all slow twitch.
Yeah, exactly.
And being an athlete, you found yourself in an experience of using shoes that were designed to
Cause pain.
Supposedly help performance, but cause pain.
Well, I mean, I got back into sprinting 18 years ago. I was getting injured nonstop. A friend suggested I try running barefoot to see if I learned anything. When you run barefoot, good form feels good, bad form hurts, and my first barefoot run hurt. And I tried to figure out how to make it feel good, and when I did, which took me one more week, my injuries went away. I became faster, All-American ever since then. And I wanted that barefoot-like experience, but my wife got tired of me walking into our white carpeted house with my dirty-ass bare feet. So I made a pair of sandals, actually similar to this, basically some rubber to protect your foot so they hold it on your foot. Yeah. And that's how we began, actually, with the do-it-yourself sandal kit 16 years ago, and now we've got 70 different styles of casual and performance shoes, boots, sandals people use for pretty much everything.
So different from the original thong where you grab at these two toes, you have the support of the ankle and then the sides as well too. So.
Yeah, we got rid of the pressure point by coming up with a lacing system that holds around your whole foot. I have a patent on this lacing system, which came in handy when a large company that I'm not legally allowed to mention ripped off my patent. That was very entertaining. I enjoy taking down billion-dollar companies.
And I think you were at on the Shark Tank and had a proposal from them to a really good offer, but not a good offer.
Yeah, Kevin. We asked for $400,000 for 8% of the company. Yeah. Kevin offered us $400,000 for half of the company. And my wife afterwards said, if Kevin thought we were going to give up half the company, he was on peyote. So, didn't happen.
So that's when money is not worth the money.
Well,
so
he was basically valuing the company at what we were going to make that year. So that made no sense. We had been growing significantly, and we knew that that offer was silly.
Right. And so I'm assuming you've had a lot of silly offers throughout the years, and have also the value of the organization's changed quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean,
where do you guys value these days?
Well, who knows what it's valued at, but I think I got to remember the numbers in 2024, because we haven't published all the 25 stuff, obviously. 24, I think we were around $67 million. And along the way, people have basically they thought that we were completely full of it, and we would never get past 2 million, then 5, then 10, then 20, then 40, then 60. I think at one point when people said that we would never get to 40, once we got to 60, I sent them all an email with the subject line, "Is it too rude to say I told you so?" And they were mostly gracious, and one group said, "Wow, should we revisit our conversation?" I went, "No, if you didn't trust me then, I don't trust you now."
Now you've been blessed with having your wife as your business partner, so you're confident, and there's probably a lot of perks to that, having someone in your side by side with you on making decisions.
The big perks is that she's brilliant, and so I'm a product marketing person. She's a finance operations person, so we're a really good team, and that came in really handy. I think we've had a conversation about things other than business once or twice in the last 16 years.
And that's how you do a relationship. So what are some of the obstacles and challenges being with a business with a partner?
No, for me, I mean, it's been utterly awesome. She's an incredibly brilliant business person. She would not say the same about me, because she has to clean up my messes, because I've never had a job. I don't have an inside corporate voice. I'm a former stand-up comic, so I say whatever's in my head. Apparently some people get upset by that every now and then. It's made our relationship better. It's been really, really the most satisfying thing I've ever done in my whole career of many careers.
And if you'd known everything you needed to learn along the way and get into this process, would you have ever begun?
No. We even had people who met with us about 7 months in. They'd been in footwear for about 35 years at the time. And they said, "We would start this company with you because we believe in you and we believe in what you're doing. Natural movement is the most important thing and no one's doing it." But they said, "We've been in the footwear business so long, we're not stupid enough to start a shoe company." And we said, well, we know we're hyper optimistic and naive, but that's how things get done. So we uttered the 5 dangerous entrepreneurial words. How hard could this be? And we just went into it, blind, which is just the way it has to be. You can never know it. Even if we knew in advance what we think we would have needed to know, it probably wouldn't have been enough or correct, because things would have changed in ways that you've got to always figure it out on the fly.
Now we've known each other for over 2 decades,
since
probably.
Since 1948, right after the war.
Right after the war. But we've been buds for a while, and we've even had multiple interviews around the subject matter. But you're at a different stage now in business.
Yeah, I'm at a crazy hair stage is what I'm
Yeah.
at right now. I just looked in the camera, holy crap. So yes.
Yeah, you grayed out on me and I balded.
Well, there's also a universal hair constant. The less you have, the more I have. That's the way it works. No, it's changed dramatically. I mean, I think we have about 100 employees right now. We have offices in other countries. I mean, we never imagined this would have happened. It was not in our wildest dreams.
So what do you enjoy most about this phase of business?
It's the thing that we've enjoyed since day one, and the reason that we've kept going is that literally every day we hear from people who said, "You've changed my life." I can't go into any crowded space, Costco, Target, I don't know when I was Target last, Trader Joe's, airports, without somebody recognizing me and coming up.
You really can't go anywhere.
No, it's true. I can't go anywhere. But people will come up and just, like in tears, thanking me for doing what we're doing. And that's what really gets us going. And ironically, all we're doing is getting out of the way so your body can do what it's naturally made to do. But apparently that's radical in the footwear world.
Yeah, and now at this stage, what are some of the, because you've worn a lot of hats throughout the years, and now at this stage here, what are some of the, I guess, the more difficult things you have to deal with as far as your driving your vision? You're kind of a Steve Jobs type character where you have this vision.
Without the money.
Yeah.
I actually have joked that if I had that kind of money, more people would listen to me more. That really is the tricky point now, is how do we make sure that everyone in the company, it's not that our vision is the best one. There's smart people that we work with, but we want to make sure we're continuing with the things that really work, and we're modifying the things that we know have to change as the brand becomes more accepted, as it expands beyond, crazy barefoot people to the mainstream. So there's a lot of kind of, we're in the weird, awkward teenage phase. We're going through puberty.
And how have you changed from being in business and being on this adventure? Because it's been a bit of a roller coaster at times when you had hit certain numbers and like how.
Well, we never had to. We just kept doing it. I mean, So this is gonna sound weird. I don't really have any experience of having changed, except that I know that I have. I know that I was a very good marketer when I started. I'm a really good marketer now. I understand things about product that I never imagined I would know, and I'm really good at that, which is very, very fun for me. But I mean, do we really, I'm looking back, I mean, do you have some experience or some like physical, emotional, whatever thing of how different you are now versus some period in the past? I mean, don't we all kind of still feel like we're in college or high school in some ways?
Trapped in this, yeah.
Yeah, in a way. I mean, it's weird.
We've come across, bumped into maybe a higher expectation for yourself, a higher standard or a level of awareness of things, and then you develop new skill sets and you find yourself in different circles.
True.
Even though they've got the same Sunday bunch, probably.
Well, no, that's true. No, there are some people that I hang out with and text on a regular basis where I have to remind myself that it's normal that they might like me, because I mean, this one guy in particular is a multi-billionaire who's the smartest, most driven, creative mind I've ever met. And after we met, he texts me all the time, and I have to like kind of shake my head and wake up sometimes like, seriously? So that's intriguing. But the biggest thing is the amount, when we started the company, we literally thought once we get to a certain amount of money, if we can sell for that, we never have to work again. We can take that amount of money, it wasn't a whole lot, put it in a suitcase under the bed, pull out $100 bills when we need them, and we'll be done. And now it's not that our expectations have changed, it's just that there's no way we can get that amount of money anymore. It has to be, because of the size of the company, significantly more. And the thing that is fun is that it's giving us opportunities. We're already starting to work with some people at a very small level, but at a certain point we may be able to really help causes that we believe in a way that could be exceptionally fun. I mean, this is going to be a weird one. I had cancer in my eyeball. Yes, that's a thing.
I remember that.
Who knew? All gone, healed better than anyone my doctors have ever seen, which is very cool. And it's such a rare cancer that there's not a lot of research going into it, and it would be fun to try to make a difference. And it'd be really fun, because I was a pre-med, to like meet with the biologists who are working on this and the various people who are involved, and see if I can learn enough to be useful, even a tiny bit. I mean, I'll just pipette stuff if I have to, but it would be a lot of fun to get involved in the research that people are doing, because the research is amazingly interesting as it is right now.
So where might the audience find your suitcase of money?
At the end of a rainbow, whenever you see one, if you can find it, there's going to be a little green elfie kind of guy guarding my suitcase and another pot of gold. The gold is fake, it's all just candy, but the money will be real if you can find him.
So being in business for yourself, having the entrepreneurial spirit and having a partner that's in business with you, what are some of the, those, maybe some, everyone thinks of like pivotal points, but what have been some of the lessons that have come along the way that have led you to staying in this game? Because I know there were times when you get the opportunities to, hey, maybe we should not do this forever. And
we have not had those opportunities.
Yeah.
No, seriously, we've tried to sell the company a number of times, and literally people would think, well, I want a company that can get to this level, and they didn't believe we could do it, and then we did. Or they just had different goals that didn't mesh with ours, or we turned down money from people where we thought they would not do the right thing for the brand. So we haven't had the opportunity to walk away at all. The opportunity we have now is that we're bringing in really good people where we can be more advisors than people who are doing things day to day and do the things that we're best at. I mean, what I'm best at is coming up with wacky ideas and then creating content. And so, I've also worked with so many different types of vendors, people who provide services for marketing, that I know how to vet them really well. So one of the biggest things I got really good at is knowing how to identify if someone's completely full of it or not. And that way we've saved a lot of money and would only work with people who were really, really good. So that's a skill. I don't have any memory of what your question was. Did I answer anything approximately?
Well, we went a different direction, but that's okay. So I guess lead into my next question, which was, why would someone want to stay in the game of being in business, meaning that you have this level of integrity of what you want this body of work that you've been involved with to continue on, and there are opportunities to bring folks in, to grow, to expand, but how do you stay with the clear original concern and the original message?
It's
through these evolutionary cycles where you grow these departments.
No, there's an easy answer. Because we haven't been acquired by another company, we can do it.
Yeah.
Because we've seen it often that somebody who has a vision for a product gets acquired, and the goals for that company don't align with what the product can do. They think they can move it faster, they can grow the company faster by doing things that destroy the product DNA, and that makes customers disappear. So we've had the luxury of not having overlords telling us that we need to do something different and having to listen to what they say. I will be completely candid. If somebody eventually buys the company, we want to do our best to make sure that they're going to do the right thing for the brand, that they understand the value and they understand that changing any little strand of the DNA is going to screw things up and you would lose millions of customers in that process. And we also know that when it's not ours, it's not ours. So there was this one group, they approached me a number of years ago and said, what would you do if we wrote you a big check? I said, well, if you want me to stick around and do what I like and what I'm good at, then I'm happy to do that. It'd be a lot of fun. And if you don't want me to do that, I'm not going to argue with you. It's your company. You can just come visit me on the island I bought with your money. And they said, God, that's a really smart answer. I went, what do idiots say? I was like really curious. They go, oh, it's my baby and I've got a vision. And I go, oh no, don't get me wrong. It's my baby and I have a vision, but I have a side hustle selling vision impaired babies. So, we'll do the best we can to put it in the right hands, but it's out of our control. It's like if it's the opposite of if you're a parent with kids who go to college. As my sister said when her kids went to college, she said, well, they're nearby, so the good news is I know what they're doing. The bad news is I know what they're doing. We just lost the light, but that's cool. Yeah, it still looks okay.
That's all right. We still got the logo.
Yeah.
I remember barefoot originally, for me, and my experience with barefoot was being barefoot. And then got shoved in some of those Vibrams, those smelly shoes back in the day. So you remember them?
Yeah, I call them birth control.
Birth control. Yes. But you've been a big part of the barefoot movement, and still are. But you got a lot of folks jumping into a lot of spin-offs.
Kind of.
That are trying to swing and they're bad at it.
Sometimes swing and a miss. This kind of like in 2009 when we started, the big companies, they tried to do something akin to this, but not quite. They didn't want to go barefoot, so they called things minimalist, or they called things barefoot. They used all the same claims that we were making, but they couldn't deliver them. It's happening again. So there are companies coming on now. There's some who are doing things, more power to them, because, for example, here, I'll do this, the shape of our shoes, like the foot shape. We designed this based on data we had from when we were making sandals, and we would let people trace their foot and we'd make a custom sandal for them. So we had about 5,000 of those. So we did our foot shape and design to accommodate like 95% of those shapes. But there's 5% or maybe 4% on one side and 4% on the other side, like really wide, really narrow, that we don't accommodate. And so there's some companies making really wide shoes. Great, that just doesn't fit with our ethos of making something that's barefoot friendly and still has a wider foot shaped toe box, but doesn't look weird. And there are other people who are making minimalist footwear, and they're adding a bunch of cushioning, which the research is very clear that does not help, that it makes it worse. Because what we're really talking about is form, not footwear. And the form is informed by the footwear. If you got a bunch of cushioning, you're going to tend to use it, which means overstriding and heel striking, which puts strain and stress through your joints and causes all sorts of problems. What you need.
We were just talking about Nike a little bit ago.
I didn't say it then. But the point.
Oh, look, another Xero shoe.
Hey, check it out. But I mean, this is true with almost every major footwear brand for the last 50 years. But the idea is that you need the feedback, because again, running barefoot, good when it's good form, bad when it feels bad when it's bad form. So we don't want to be barefoot, but we want to get enough feedback to make that natural adjustment to a gait that is fundamentally better for you.
Now, if folks are trying to find these shoes, where are you guys located?
Oh, right here. We have, well.
Don't give your home address.
Got it.
But what are some of the stores, I mean, you're global.
Don't dox me.
And online, everyone can shop online these days for your convenience.
It's true. You can go to xeroshoes.com, xeroshoes.eu, xeroshoes.co.uk.
But what if I'm at the mall?
Well, here's the thing. So we're in REI stores, we're in
REI.
Free People, we're in Dardanos. I mean, we're in about 1,000 stores worldwide, so I don't keep them all in my head, strangely enough. So if you go to xeroshoes.com/stores, you can find a list, hopefully someone near you, but no one carries the entire breadth of our products. I mean, we literally have, everything from little kids things, those might fit you, to, again, this is a great court shoe that we're coming out with. I shouldn't be showing that to you, but it's really cool.
Can we talk a little bit about what's going on in the basketball world?
Like this, for example. So we made a basketball shoe called the X1. This is a colorway that we did for Isaiah Stewart for the Pistons. We designed this with him, and he emailed us at the end of last season saying, I played 72 games last season. I've never done that before. Cutting better, jumping higher than I ever have.
Okay, no injuries?
No injuries, none from wearing this. So we've got more players who've been wearing it, and in the NBA and WNBA, and we're super excited about what this is doing. And we have a whole bunch of teams where they have all of the players training in the shoe with the strength and conditioning coaches, hoping to get them strong enough to be able to comfortably play in this. Because you can't just switch to, like, if you haven't been using muscles for a little while, you can't just start pounding them. You got to build up strength until you're ready to handle whatever you want to throw.
So when you're used to wearing a shoe that turns off everything, and then you want to take strides, got to build up.
Yeah.
And the same as like when I was sharing about my experience with going from a normal shoe to too much shoe.
Right.
That's also very dangerous. And we talked about the success rate of injury as 100%.
Yeah, if you're wearing one of those super shoes, it will make you faster if you're about 145 pounds and run at 800 meters. Yeah, run at 800 in under 2 minutes.
Close to.
Okay, sure. And but if you're anything other than that, there's a research physical therapist who says, your risk of injury is 100%. Because it's altering your gait in a way that you don't have time to adjust, because you can't afford to get enough pairs of shoes to wear them and learn how to move differently.
Right. Yeah, like I said, I had to learn the hard way. I think you've had to learn. We've all had to learn the hard way, but we don't need to necessarily do that anymore.
No. And my hard way wasn't really that hard. I got a blister on the ball of my left foot, and I wondered how come my right foot is fine. And then I just listened to my right foot the next time I went running, and my left foot eventually figured it out after about 9 minutes, and it just never changed after that.
So what else is on the forefront with Xero shoes? What are you guys up to?
World domination followed by whichever other planets we discussed.
This is a true statement. So.
Well, seriously, I like to glibly say that we are just trying to change the world, and that doesn't mean that we become the next Nike or anything like that. It means that we make this whole minimalist idea, this natural movement idea, so obviously a real opportunity, a viable choice. That's the only thing that I'm trying to do. So when people say, what if some big company tries to rip you off? I go, then we won, then we did what we're trying to do. There's always an opportunity to market differently or have some products differentiated. So I don't care if a big company starts to do this, then they have proven the value proposition. They've proven that we've been right for 16 years. And that's good. We can take advantage of that. We can exploit that in ways that they won't be able to because they're so much bigger. I'm thinking of two companies in particular, that they're not as nimble and they can't say some of the things that we can say. Like, hey, we've been doing it first, we're the OG.
Now, you just mentioned someone earlier before we got on this conversation around a woman who had worn the shoes, walked across the U.S.
Yeah, Judy Benjamin. If you go to judywalks.com, you can see what she's done. She's still got a couple weeks left, but as of today, she's walked 2,600 miles, starting in California, ending in Florida, and wearing nothing but Xero shoes the whole way. And people sometimes say, well, you can't wear these on concrete. I live in New York. It's like, I walk 20 miles a day in New York and didn't have a problem. She's walked 2,600 miles across every kind of terrain, a lot of it on concrete. Said she's never had a problem. She felt great the whole time.
So your shoes are being used for walking, running, basketball, hiking,
you name it. I mean,
all the sports. Like, what sports are you not in yet?
Oh boy, it depends. We don't have people competing, playing professionally in baseball, football, soccer, but we have had people in every one of those sports say that they've been wearing our stuff off the field or off the court. Yeah, and so there's things that we're going to try and see what we can do to be helpful in giving them something that can make them better on the field too.
How many different shoes have you guys produced throughout the years?
Different styles total?
Yeah, styles, yeah.
Including ones we've discontinued?
Yeah.
Gosh,
roughly.
Probably 90.
Okay. And then because you have quite an array, are there any other directions you're going as far as gear or clothing or anything of that sort?
We're not thinking about clothing at the moment. That's a whole other universe that's even more complicated.
So protective underwear is not in yet. So.
I'm wearing it right now, but I'm not supposed to talk about it.
Okay.
It's protecting me from things that I wish it weren't. I don't even know what that means when I said it. I have a couple of patents that one for making it easier to get the right size when you're shopping online, and one for making it easier to learn how to run and walk with proper form and reduce risk of injury. Those are little side projects that frankly,
tools. So.
Not quite, but
okay.
Suffice it to say, they're frankly worth more than this whole footwear brand. If we can get them done, and I'm trying to get them done. I have a couple of little skunkworks footwear projects that I've been working on for a while. As a sprinter, I think there's better ways of connecting to the ground and getting the traction you need and getting the right force applied at the right angles at the right time. So that's a thing I've been playing with for, holy crap, I've actually been playing with that idea for almost 10 years. I have another footwear idea that the manufacturing technique for it, I think may have just been developed, and we haven't tried to use it yet because it's really out there, but we'll find out.
Any odd hobbies or interests outside of work?
So I've been lifting more consistently than I have in a long time, which is really fun. Doing a super short, super intense workout 3 days a week that I've come to the conclusion that my life from now on will mean that from Saturday afternoon through Monday morning is the only time I won't be sore somewhere. Okay. From Friday, I can walk downstairs without wishing I didn't have stairs, but it's bad. And I'm having such a great time because that very intense, very difficult thing very short thing fits my brain and body. I'll give you this one because you'll appreciate it. So this morning was, today was Monday, it was leg day. And so the first thing I did was Nordic hamstring curls. Mm-hmm. Okay, so down and back for 30 seconds. And then I couldn't keep going up, so I was just doing negatives for the next 30 seconds until I got to about 45 degrees before I fell.
Sorry for that.
So it's essentially a minute's worth of Nordic hamstring curls.
Oh.
And dude, I'm 63. So I was really proud about that one.
63?
Yeah.
Looking good.
I didn't think I could do that, and I did, and that was super fun. And the other thing,
you look better now than a few years ago.
It's changed. Yeah. It's really fun. I like it when my wife goes, and actually, I like what my wife does, but I was at my 45th high school reunion. People would come up and go, hey, good to see you. Oh my God. Yeah. So that was really satisfying. But it's also, trying to put on some mass before I can't and trying to just be stronger for sprinting. Let's just say my other hobby of late, I'm learning to take money from casinos.
Okay.
So now I won't be ready to do that for about another 6 more months probably, because there's a bunch to learn, and people might get a clue about what I'm referring to.
Okay, and you've had a few other hobbies, gosh, I mean, I remember back in the days you did some meditation
It's not a
courses.
hobby. Meditation's not a hobby, it's just a thing. I mean, that's gonna say like sitting in my hot tub is a hobby, which it kind of is, given how much time I spend in the hot tub.
Now, do you get your fix on stand-up comedy at work, or are you thinking about getting to the big stage?
No, I get my stand-up comedy fix by calling 3 friends of mine and saying, here's the completely unacceptable thing that I just thought of that's really funny.
Yeah.
Actually, not always unacceptable.
I've been on the receiving end of that.
Yeah, no, it's not totally true. There's certain, here, I'll give you a bit that I'm gonna be launching for part of the company in the not too distant future. So I have done videos where it's just me reading mean things people have said about me online and then responding to them, because it's pretty funny. And usually they go in thematic chunks, like for some reason for 3 months everyone's gonna make this comment, and then another 3 months is that comment. The most recent one is that I look like a girl, or wondering if I'm a girl, especially when I have my hair down. Yep. And so I'm gonna say, look, I understand, I get mammed all the time, and even my doctor said that being a 63-year-old guy with long curly hair could mean I'm not comfortable with my masculinity. And I said, I'm not paying for psychological advice from my gynecologist. So every now and then, thank you. So I'll think of something and I'll find a way to inject it in here when I can.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the comedian. You remind me of Anthony
Jeselnik?
Yeah.
Oh, only because that was a twist.
Yeah.
Jeselnik, every joke he does is a twist. I used to do, I had a bunch of jokes I used to do like that. One was that I went down to Florida to see my grandmother in the Senior Olympics, which is like all the Olympic events for senior citizens, and the marathon, like to see the 80 and over race, most inspirational thing I've ever seen. And I'm gonna go back down this year to see the finish, because that is gonna really be something. So, but it's a very particular style of a joke, and that's all he does, which I have great respect for, doing nothing but the same style, but his writing is so brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. If he brings in his grandma or an old neighbor, it's gonna go bad. Yes, I can't repeat my favorite Jeselnik jokes. Yeah. Well, what might be like just a nugget from the House of Xero shoes? What might be a good short clip story, or there's a good lesson about being in business for yourself and having a passion, and not listening to anybody else but your stubbornness and your determination, and having that resilience, and going all in, and then surprising yourself, or not really surprise yourself, but going, of course it worked out.
Well, I would say instead of any of that, just get a government job with a pension, but right now you can't get those. Yeah. Look, I say that 90% of what has gotten us here is luck, and the other 10%, it's also luck. And then there's a separate 100% that's 90% working your ass off, and 10% hopefully being smart enough or knowing someone smart enough to put out the fire that started overnight, even though nothing changed since yesterday. There's no way to guarantee success. That's an illusion.
There's no paved roadmap.
No, anyone who's selling you that is completely full of shit.
Yep.
And trying to make money off of you. Yep. I have a fantasy of going around to bookstores and buying every book that's about how to succeed in business and then burning them. So, because for every story of someone who seemingly got there doing whatever it is they did, there's 1,000 stories of people for whom it didn't work. Right. And for every story of someone who realized they need to cut bait and stop because it isn't working, there's thousands of stories of people who went bankrupt because they didn't know how to stop. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to give advice on how to be honest about what's really going on, because things can change in either direction. I mean, we thought it was, because it was for a while, a straight line up. I mean, it was just going 45 degrees or faster, and then things happened like COVID, or any number of things can happen along the way.
Everything's out of your control.
So much of it's out of your control, and we all like to think that it's in our control. And the best I can say is good luck, because look, when I say good luck, I'm very, I don't know how to describe this. I take it back from the fact that I actually met Lena, and she avoided me like the plague for years, and then eventually decided to be my friend, and then my girlfriend, and then married me. If that hadn't happened, this wouldn't happen at all. But I take it back even more. If I weren't born to those people in that place at that time, this wouldn't have happened. And so I don't take this personally. Like I know what I'm good at, but even that I'm only good at it because of these things that had nothing to do with me.
And if he and I hadn't been dueling at double unders jumping rope, we wouldn't be good buddies.
Yeah. I mean, how that? Yeah, I mean, everything, the numbers, things like that in this business and in my life, and I'll just use the business, so astronomically unreasonable that what could I possibly say that would be useful other than the only thing you can control is your risk. That's it. So, I mean, think of it like gambling. If you're going to be smart, here's how much money I'm willing to throw away. And you've got to be willing to do that the whole time you're in business. If you don't know what your risk is, how bad it could go, and are you protected from that, it's a problem. Like for us, if things got really bad, we could sell all our inventory at half price and just clear it out, and we'd be okay financially. Wouldn't be, great, but it wouldn't be that we're in some huge amount of debt that we'd have to declare bankruptcy personally, things like that.
So there's a level of like unreasonable, a level of obsession, there's a level of addiction or like it's like you're at the gambling table and you're there to keep playing.
It's worse. It's worse. It's kind of like if you got the hots for someone crazy, because if you're really attracted to someone, this male or female doesn't matter. The point is that's going to make you dumb in a particular way. All entrepreneurs tend to be stupid in that we think our product and our product ideas are great. Yep. And I say this multiple times a day to people. I go, I've been doing this a long time. I have a lot of opinions. I just don't give a shit what any of them are anymore. I just want to test them and see if they work. And I want to test them as quickly and cheaply as I can.
Quickly and cheaply as possible.
And there's nothing I like better than when something doesn't work. Because if it doesn't, I have to either look at it and figure out if I did something wrong, and I've seen that repeatedly. Like, how did I make that mistake? That was obvious. I should have used the word you instead of I or whatever.
Find the little tweaks.
Yeah. Or you go, okay, I'm not going to do that one.
Move
on. And
so don't hang out tinkering in the basement too long.
No, I mean, for people who are just starting, I say find the fastest, cheapest way to see if someone who's never met you before is willing to give you their hard-earned cash. And if they are, see if you can figure out how many people there are just like that and what percentage of those people you can actually get to then give you their hard-earned cash. Because again, I've seen this so many times, the most painful thing ever. Entrepreneurs who, for whatever reason, end up with a bunch of money from whatever they did. They have an exit, it goes really well. And then they have another idea, and that idea feels the same way as the first one. So they think it must be as good as the first one. And it was all about them that made it happen. So then they start a new thing and they lose all their money. And that just makes my heart break, because with a hobby or a hooker, they could have done something totally different and not lost all that money. So it's really...
and since 2009 you guys started?
End of 2009.
So how many of your friends and acquaintances along the way have you seen these businesses? They're like, oh, these guys might be doing something similar to us. They're going to take off, and you've watched them capsize.
There are two who have done well-ish. The company has done well. For one of them, the company did well, and out of the founders, one of them made some money, the other made almost nothing. For one of them, the company has made a lot of money, but now they're in a position where it's highly unlikely they're going to be able to sell, and they're panicked because they have a goal and it's not likely they're going to hit that. And then there are a bunch that are still trying to get there, and it's like on the verge of either working or not working every week. And I can think in the footwear world, I can think of, oh my God, at least a dozen that have crashed and burned.
And you've been fortunate also to have mentors, other folks in your industry, not necessarily mentors, but folks in your industry, like kind of folks coming from Birkenstock, right? And
there have been people who've just been really, really supportive of us since day one. For frankly, in the early days when I look back, unreasonably supportive. I don't know why they did. When I asked them, they all said, we believed in you. And not just me and Lena, and we thought what you were doing was interesting, but mostly we believed in you. And I don't know what we did to make that happen. Definitely not something I literally can't figure it out. But regardless, I mean, there are people that they believed in.
You think they believe in you, believe in yourself, your own psychosis, and they go, that's familiar, this person's...
I literally have no idea. Again, people have been really, really helpful all along, and I couldn't be more grateful, and I have no idea why. Actually, that's not totally true. the story that we tell about what we're doing is real. We're able to tell the truth.
Okay.
And I think telling the truth is a superpower when you have the ability to do that.
Definitely.
And so, so they saw that we were telling the truth and that we were smart and committed and wanted to see it through. I mean, the most difficult thing for me personally is I know where we are now and I know where we should be, and that gap is always significantly long. That might change at some point. I can see how it could change in, frankly, not very many years. But if you want to know the equation for being stressed, here's where you are, here's where you want to be. And as long as you're paying attention to that gap, that's the cause of stress. And I'm very aware that that's what makes me wake up in the middle of the night sometimes. But that's just where it is right now. And the one thing I don't do is I don't make myself wrong for the fact that that's what I'm doing right now. That's just the way of it. I'm cool. It's just, I have to remind myself that at 65 million plus, we're not a startup, but we're still just at the beginning of what's possible.
Get the best juice at the end here. Glad we stayed in the mix here. So
if
I think we're gonna leave it on that note. You got one more?
If anyone has learned anything from what I've said, you completely misunderstood me. So,
Thanks, Stephen.
pleasure.
All right, brother.